It also sounds like we might have a little bit of a problem with, at least for Daniel Jones. Brian Daboll was, you can just listen to it. Here was a back and forth between Giants head coach Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, the general manager. This was courtesy of Hard Knocks offseason.
Daniels, have you guys seen enough that you would trade up for him?
Daniels?
Yeah, I would.
Yes.
So that's the head coach of Daniel Jones talking about whether or not they would trade up for Jaden Daniels in the draft.
Just a whole lot of Daniels flying around.
Yeah,
right
a lot of it.
I was just going to say.
It's
That was a quick clip there. We don't want to expand on that anymore.
That's pretty much the gist of it from what we've got. There's also the back and forth talking about Saquon Barkley playing for the Eagles. John Mara, the owner of the Giants, talking with Joe Schoen about how things could end up with Saquon Barkley in the midst of the negotiations, and this is how it went.
What's the latest? Just on the Saquon thing.
I just got a text that Chicago's driving the price up and Philly's out. I don't know if that's true or not. Which I don't know if I'll make a couple calls. I don't even know if that's gonna happen, but
I'm gonna have a tough time sleeping if Saquon goes to Philadelphia. I'll tell you that. As I've told you, I'm just being honest. I have been around enough players, but he's the most popular player we have by far.
Well, that makes absolutely zero sense then. Make it make sense, Q. Make it make sense.
I can't. I mean, I think they just valued – they're showing you their hand. It's twofold. They made an investment into Daniel Jones a couple years back now. So they're showing you that they believe, for one, in Daniel Jones, when healthy, is capable of being their quarterback. And if they're wrong, they're going to be stubborn about it, and they're going to delay it until next year. In that draft class, they'll address it then. And they're investing into that quarterback and passing game. That's the obvious thing in all of this, which is it's interesting only because if you look at the 49ers and who they decided to pay so far this offseason, it's Christian McCaffrey. And Saquon has a very similar skill set as far as his ability to impact the passing game and running game. And to the point of what we heard in the audio, he's everyone's favorite player. I mean, to me, he was the motor that made that offense run. And now you don't have him anymore. And so now you're really going to test the theory on how you feel about Daniel Jones. They go get Malik Neighbors, which is an investment into Daniel Jones. And we'll see what happens with the Giants this year. But it could be a frustrating year. The few things they have going for them are the defense last year was pretty good, and I think it will be very good. Now, I'm not sure what it's going to look like without Wink Martindale calling the defense. But personnel-wise, they've invested into, they've improved on that side of the ball. They've tried to help out the offensive line. Daniel Jones should be back healthy. All those things are working for them. So it just comes down to, can they win enough football games not to feel the heat and the pressure of the mistake of letting go of Saquon, in my opinion. But that's what happens when you literally draft a guy and you have the guy in-house and you don't value him enough to say, yeah, we're willing to pay him an extra $2-3 million a year because we feel like he means that much to our organization. And so you let him go, and of course he's going to have the chance to go to a place like Philly. They value that sort of thing, and they get to see him now twice a year, at least.
You made mention of another major departure outside of Saquon and Wink Martindale. Now, he rolls out. Like, I do believe he left, right? He wasn't let go. He left to go to Michigan to be the D coordinator, correct?
Well, they let go. I believe this is how the story works. Giants fans, don't kill me if I'm wrong, but they made some defensive staff changes, and I believe he was upset about that, and that led to him leaving.
And him and Brian Daboll had issues last year, dust-ups, if you will. But what tipped him over the edge?
One of your favorite phrases.
Yeah.
Which to me, that's screaming. If you got a guy that had the success, because it was a lone bright spot for this New York Giants team. If you had that success in a market like New York, and you had a belief in, say, the offense, say the quarterback, say the direction they're going in, you're going to figure out a way to grill that up, wrap it up neatly, and eat it, and continue to be the defensive coordinator of of a unit in one of the largest media markets in the country. But yet you leave. You stab out. And by the way, you go to college. That says to me, that screams, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. Saquon Barkley not wanting to do a deal that makes him signable to the New York Giants. And the Giants are sitting there talking about, oh, Chicago's running the price up, this, that, and the other. And you're not just trying to sign him, but Saquon's not trying to be signed. They're getting out of Dodge. People are getting out of Dodge. That's two of your main pieces of your team that got the hell up out of there. I don't know. I mean, I'm not one to be big on speculation, but if I'm looking at it from that perspective, there's something that ain't there's something that's not passing the sniff test in the Giants front office or in that facility. Something is not right in New York. And throw in there, by the way, the fact that you did pay the one entity that was probably the most questionable of them all, and Daniel Jones. And now you have and the guy that you paid, now you have a soundbite that surfaces that says that you would have traded up to get Jaden Daniels if you could.
This is why they got to stop doing Hard Knocks. Like, it just makes people look bad. Like, this makes Joe Shane look bad. It makes the Giants look dysfunctional. It makes I don't know what good comes out of this. Like, I don't know what good is going to come out of the AFC North. Cam Hayward doesn't want to do it. Like, nobody wants to do this, and it's another example of, no, we've got to have inside access to see how this stuff goes. If you just let it be and Saquon's in Philly and you paint the narrative however you want to paint it, that's fine. But now you've got, to LaVar's point, a quarterback who knows you would have taken another quarterback in the draft had you had the opportunity. And you've got a fan base who knows, wait, so our GM doesn't even know how to read this right and is getting mixed signals, and then Saquon left for a little bit more than the deal that we are. I don't know who this benefited them signing up for this. Clearly, they don't have creative control, because if they did, none of that should be seen.
I was just going to say, isn't that part of the deal?
I don't know.
Don't a lot of these teams have editing control or, last right of refusal to put something out there?
I can't imagine they would if that's what they were like. Yeah, that sounds good. That makes it sound all right. Like, I don't get it, man. I mean, it's fascinating to get an inside look like that, but I don't know, like, who. It's like, a reality show. Like,
right.
None of that ever ends well for anybody on a reality show. And yet here we are. So, LaVar's Giants, man.